My name is Flor and welcome to our Wonder Women talk show. This is yet another interesting episode where we interact with women who are inspiring and thriving in their purpose, women who are impacting lives out there. Today I'm joined by a very young lady who is a visual artist, rare career I know, and she is the founder of Petrina Creations. She graduated with a diploma in visual arts from the College of the Arts. Yes. Petrina, it's good to have you here. Welcome to Wonder Women Talk Show.
Thank you. It's nice to be here too.
Thank you. Petrina, is the thing is we all have one thing that we want people to remember us with, or how to describe us, or when they hear your name, you want that thing to come to their minds. Who is Petrina?
Oh, I think every time I get that question, my mind goes to so many things. I never know how to just directly answer. But I would say in few words, Petrina is a dynamite, and dynamites don't come in big packages. She comes in a very small package. But as much as it's a small package, she has a vision of taking part in people's transformation and becoming journey, and that's literally what I've been doing for my life.
Tell us more about your career, visual arts.
Well, it's a career I think a lot of people around me were a bit surprised that I went into. I've been wanting to be a visual artist. I think I just didn't know the term for it. I remember growing up when people were busy playing and all that. I was busy playing with cans, building things. I was the one who was always following my grandmother. My grandmother was a fashion designer. When she was busy with doing her work and all that, I was always just next to her and trying to, learn what I could learn. And she loved doing her own jewelry as well, her own neck pieces. So I also used to just follow and get the beads that she didn't use, and I would use them. And so that's literally how it all started. It started with me just trying to imitate what my grandmother is doing. But I realized that the more I was growing, the more the interest in art came. I loved poetry, I loved writing, loved reading novels and all that. But so it's something that started as a small child. I just didn't know the term for it. And at some point I decided, you know what? I need to follow this route, and here I am today.
That's a good one. You said that you used to follow your grandmother and she does jewelry designing. Is that where your love also developed by seeing your grandmother, since you now own a shop where you sell jewelry that you made yourself?
I think my grandmother is this phenomenal woman. She did her work exceptionally well. Like, it was so beautiful. She would do dresses for us, and I think she instilled that without us knowing that she was actually instilling that. And so that's how I think it started. But then when I was grade 11, I used to do business, like probably since grade 3. I was doing any type of business, whether it's selling sweets, whether it's chips, whether it's ice blocks. Because I remember, like, when I was grade 5 or 6, somewhere there were these ladies who used to sell ice blocks outside, or ice lollies outside the school. But then during break, they were not allowed to come inside. So what I would do then is go to them, take their cooler boxes, and we count the ice lollies in it. And then since they sell them for 50 cents outside, I'll come and sell them for $1. I take back their cooler box empty with their 50 cents that they had asked for all their ice lollies. So business for me was a thing of, I do it kind of every time I could. And when I got to grade 11, I developed a health issue. And constantly I was in and out of the hospital, and the medication that I got required me to eat a lot. And since my mom, I knew my mom's salary, I knew the position she was, it was too much for her. I then started a business of making earrings. And that's literally how I started. I started making these earrings, and I would sell them. I would sell underwears, I would sell brass, literally everything I could put my hands on. And when I came to school in Windhoek at NUST, I knew I needed, whether it's cosmetics, whether it's taxi fare and all that. So I started then doing more of the earrings, and eventually I started learning how to do bracelets. I started learning how to do necklaces. And I would see someone with a certain design in town, and I go home and I try it out. I did not receive any training for the jewelry at first. I just
You didn't?
No, I just started. So I think it started without knowing that it was actually something I loved. It started with just a business to sustain myself, but I fell in love with it, and I just wanted to help people be unique, stand out with the different pieces of jewelry they wore.
You started making a business when you still had a medical condition.
Yes.
And speaking about school, you mentioned that you came to Windhoek to NUST.
Yes.
And here I just introduced you that you graduated with a diploma in visual arts from the College of Arts. How did you transit from NUST to the College of Arts?
I think the thing is, when I was grade 12, I told my mom that I wanted to go study art.
Okay.
And she said, no, you're not going to leave my house to go study art. You're going to do something. Either you're going to become an accounting teacher, because I was very good in accounting, or a math teacher, or you're going to become an accountant or something. And I was like, but in our family, there's so many accountants, there's so many teachers. I knew I did not want to stand in front of people teaching children, because I knew our behaviors at school. So I had to choose a course, and I looked for a course that would allow me to do business. Because I think from a young age, I already knew I didn't want to be an employee. I wanted to become an employer. And I knew I could only do that through business. So I chose logistics, and I went to NUST. But something was disturbing while I was there. And I found myself, 2016, I was depressed. I was failing most of my subjects. And it was a point where you're failing not because you don't know, but just because you're going through something. And I realized that, or I noticed at some point that I would rather be at home making jewelry than be in class at school. So when that started, 2016, I decided, you know what, I'm going to study art. And I just decided, I put in my form like the last day of application at the college. And then, yeah, I applied. It was not an easy journey. I had a lot of family issues. For that decision, I lost friends, but it was the best decision I could make for myself.
In our African culture, visual arts is not regarded as a career, or let me say it's underrated. And you mentioned that your parents didn't want you to go do arts. Why do you think that is the case? And did your parents not find it difficult for you to accept your career?
The first, because I remember when I handed in my application for to be a student at the College of the Arts, I handed it in the last day of applications, and I just had this faith that, you know what, there is no way I got a bursary way before I was accepted at College of the Arts to study. And I was just like, there's something that is pushing me. And by then I had watched a lady called Lisa Nichols. She's a transformational speaker. And she showed me what I wanted to do by then because of the way she spoke. So I decided, you know what, I'm going. And when I told my mom that, listen, I've been accepted at the College of Arts, I am starting, it was not funny.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It was not funny. She called me, and I remember she gave me a choice to make. She said I must pick between her and my God and my art. Because now it seems that I'm saying no, I'm praying to God, and he said it's fine for me to go study art. So it was a whole thing of my mom does not want to talk to me for, I think, like about 3-4 months. We're not talking, and she would call just because she's a mother, and she would call and say, hi, how are you? Okay, but a week or two could literally pass by without me and her talking. And it broke my heart. So I prayed quite a lot because I knew there was that resistance from her. The whole of 2017, she was not okay with it. 2018, she was not okay with it. She was, yeah, just because you're doing it, let's try. But I saw last year, it started it started changing, and now she has become my biggest supporter. Like,
really?
She would find opportunities for me. She would literally, I think it was sometime in June, if I'm not mistaken, I went to the north and I saw a kindergarten that was being built at our village, and I said I wanted to paint it for free, but provided they just get material, I'll travel and I'll paint it. This woman went as far as getting people to buy the material, making sure I had transport to come from here to there, and she markets it. And out of that, I got so many other offers to go paint other places, but just because she has now started supporting it. So it took time, but now she supports it. And I realized that when we start showing people that it's possible, they then start believing it. And now I have my cousins who have wanted to study art. Now their parents are saying, it's okay, you can go study it, because somebody had to show that it's possible. So it wasn't an easy thing.
Having your mother not talking to you for a period of 4 to 6 months, how did it affect you?
Yeah, I think for me it was never the best place, but I'm grateful when I look back that it happened, because it prompted me to pray more than I used to. It prompted me to care for others, because I could then feel that gap in our fellow colleagues at school, and it wasn't nice. It was a difficult place, because there are some times where all you want to do is talk to your mother, literally. There are times where all you need is a hug from a mother, but not being able to do it. Like, I literally avoided going to the north because of that. So it wasn't an easy thing, but I'm grateful that it happened, because now my relationship with her is stronger than it was before. Now I have learned to also value our relationship. Now I have learned to love others, because I know that could be happening to them. So it wasn't nice, it wasn't easy, but it was, I'm grateful it happened.
It was worth it.
Yeah.
With all that thing that has been happening, was there a point when you were tempted to go back to NUST just to make your mother happy?
I don't think I was literally just tempted to go back to NUST. I was suicidal so many times. And I think also because of there was depression, and now there was rejection. And growing up, I had a approval addiction. So I just wanted to be approved and do things that people were approving of me. And that was actually the first time when I said, listen, I'm going to do it for Petrina, and I don't care what nobody ever say. So it was a very difficult thing. I was prompted so many times. There were times I wanted to quit, because it's just not easy. There were times I didn't have taxi fare. I had to walk at some point, because I just didn't want to ask somebody for money, because there was a thing of, you must choose to go there. And so I knew my mother did not even bother to give me a single cent, because she was angry. And to her, I understood her point, because with her, and we had the discussion with her. She said in her life she has never ever seen somebody who lived off art. But it's just because their definition of art had just to do with painting, and that's it.
And the other thing is not really the definition of art, but growing up, we were not exposed to visual arts and the importance of it. Yeah. And would you want, or would you wish to advise mothers out there who have their children that are taking careers that they are not in support of, just to avoid the neglection you felt at that point?
Yeah. Sometime last year, November to be specific, we have what we call Arts Plush at school. So Arts Plush is an exhibition at every end of the year, where the school shows off the artworks that we did. And my mom came to see all my artworks. She spoke to my lecturers, and I did a live performance. And the following day, they had a lunch for me with the family, with the friends, and she said, dear parents, I would want to tell you that if your child wants to go study something, let them go. Because what we are doing is caging our children in this prison that they will never be able to get out of if we don't allow them to. And it kills people, and it destroys dreams. So honestly, in her words, allow the child to go. It's easier for a child to learn making their own mistake than a child to learn when they're forced to do something. And I've learned that when, like, even if I try out something in art and it goes wrong, I learn from it more than when I'm being forced to go do. Like when I went to art, I've learned, I literally know the whole content in my head. But when I go to NUST, I keep saying, at some point when we graduate at NUST, we should still be thanking Google, because we have done a lot of copy and paste. But with college of art, because I love it, I understand it. When there was lecturing, it just comes and it flows for somebody. So it's best you allow them to do what it is they can do, because I've realized when you have a dream, the universe will make space for you. But if you go in a career that you don't want to, it's hardly that you even dream.
Now that you own a jewelry shop and you have this painting of yours, how do your parents take it now?
I think the one person who markets me the most is my mother.
The same person who was not happy when you chose the career.
The same person who was not happy. I love it. Now I love the response I get. I love that now my mother is one of the advocates to say, yes, allow the kids to go study art. I love that my family now has become my biggest supporters. And it would have never happened if I had just decided or have allowed them to talk me out of it and I just keep quiet. It would have never happened had I just decided, you know what, it's fine, let me just do NUST and that's it. I would probably be sitting in an office depressed.
Speaking about paint, this is your own painting. What does this entails?
So here I was looking, I deal mostly with mental health in most of my artworks.
Okay.
And here I was looking at serenity. I did a body of work where I was looking at what I wanted inside. Inside of me, there's this total peace that I just desired so much. And there's a verse in the Bible that says that God gives us peace that surpasses all understanding. And what I wanted was that peace, that total peace that I could not even understand or any other person could not understand. But I felt that peace was being covered by so many things that we go through, whether it's the depressions, whether it's the suicide. And the fact that people didn't want to talk about it made it just, for me, it felt like there's a serenity inside of me, but it was being covered and it was masked. And that's literally even the title of this, that there is so much happening inside of us and around us. And it covers our peace that we want. We might want it thinking it's so far, but it's actually inside of us. It's just being covered by so many things. So hence the painting.
Speaking about mental health, it's not a topic that our society is comfortable talking about. What gave you the courage to talk about mental health?
When I got to my final year, which was last year, I was at the point where I've seen so many people depressed. I've seen so many people who wanted to commit suicide. I myself were in those situations. I've seen more darkness than anything else. And I was just like, there is so much health in our mental that we don't want to talk about, whether it's the colleagues that were surrounding me. And what I wanted to start a conversation on those mental health topics, the different types of topics. So that's how it literally began. It was me, how I felt inside. I wanted to express out. I wanted to have a conversation. And I used pain to have that conversation. But also what I wanted more was to start that conversation within our society, within our class. I literally started those conversations in class. And it was they were uncomfortable conversations. But every single time they visited my studio, whether it's the lecturers, whether it's students, I made sure we had that conversation. And for as long as we could have it there, it felt like we could have it any other place. So I wanted to start a conversation. And I knew that it's a very important thing. It's something we need to be talking about. It's something we constantly need to check up on people and all that. And until somebody starts it, nobody else will. So I wanted to be the person who starts it.
I want to highlight on that point. Mental health is real. We can ignore it all we want, but it's out there and we need to open up and talk about it. Apart from this painting, what other painting else do you have?
Yeah, I have so many other paintings. I have done paintings on death. I've done paintings on suicide. I've done paintings on rape. I recently just finished a project with Sister Namibia where I did a painting titled The Fingerprints of Blood,
Okay.
Mending the broken telephone. And I did this project because I felt there's so much people are shouting and people are crying. And whether it's the victims of rape or whether it's the perpetrators, I feel they're speaking, but we don't want to listen to them. And I just wanted that telephone to be broken, and hence why the title of that. And yeah, so I literally do work on everything that is surrounding me. I use everything around me to title my work, to inspire me to work. And yeah,
let's talk about the other one, the one that you also brought with. If you can just bring it here. This one is also an interesting painting that you did. What prompted you to paint this one?
So this one was after a discussion with a friend. We were talking about gender-based violence, and I was expressing of my own situation of what happened. And when I narrated the story and when she narrated the story, I was prompted to go listen to more stories of other people who survived gender-based violence and the mental health that they're going through and all that. And one thing I've picked up from the gender-based violence, from the rape cases, is that somebody is always screaming. And when they're screaming, if they're lying down, they're pulling something. So everything on here was literally me screaming and trying to express how they felt and how I felt on that painting, and pulling it and doing literally everything. And the fact that we wanted peace every single time. You wanted to just be left alone and have total peace in you. But then you're constantly being disturbed because there's healing that still needs to happen. And hence you see the white and the blue being just for healing, most of it. And the black of all the things that happen, the suicide, the thoughts that come to you, the depression that comes to you. It's like there's so much that people are always screaming every single time. Whether it's when they say, I just want to be left alone. This woman is screaming, but are we listening? So literally it was about gender-based violence and the screaming that happens.
At this point in time, gender-based violence is a sensitive topic. Is there anything that you wish the government could do about, or just us as a society, to limit the cases of gender-based violence?
I think everything, before we even go to the government, it is us as a society. Because if we can't have the conversation in the society, unfortunately, they will never have the conversation in parliament.
Yes.
If we don't make it comfortable to have the conversation, us as people in our own houses, that minister also has a house, and they will never have the conversation in their house. Hence, they'll never take it to the house there that they go all ministers. So I feel the most important conversations we need to have, and where it all needs to start, it's in our homes, it's in our societies, that we stop shaming the people that have gone through it, that we stop shutting off the people that have gone through it, that we start listening, that we start putting in the effort to actually find out what happens to somebody when they go through gender-based violence. We say certain people are angry, but why are they angry? What type of help can we also give them? So I feel the conversation is not the government to do. It is us as people in our own homes to first start the conversation, to first start changing the stereotypes that are there. Before we can say the government can do anything, we need to do something.
It starts with us before it goes to the government. What is the most important thing that visual art does that you wish most of people out there know?
I think people think Petrina just wakes up and puts paint on an artwork or on a canvas, but it doesn't work like that. With visual artists, there is so much concept that go in, like the thinking of a concept. Like for example, this work might have been done maybe in less than an hour, painting it, but it took about 3-4 months to conceptualize it, to listen to different stories, to tap in. Because what then happens is, for example, me, I need to tap into that emotion to be able to paint. Because when I use my body, I don't just picture anything, it's abstract. I tap into those feelings. But it takes time to conceptualize, to mix paints, to do. So people need to respect visual artist and understand that it is not just an easy thing to do. Otherwise, everybody would be walking in that park if it was easy. It's more than just that.
You said that people need to respect the visual arts, and there are a lot of people out there who wish to do visual arts, but they think it's so much underrated and it won't make any sense. Where will I go with visual arts? Do you have any advices for those people, and include their parents?
I think we need to know that until we do it, nobody else will do it. Until you start, nobody else will believe in you. Until you decide that I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it exceptionally well, nobody else will do it. So it's underrated, yes, but it is up to us to make sure that people will start respecting us. And I'm saying this because I went through the same thing. I'm saying this because I've seen how I was treated when I used to first say I'm studying art, and now when I say I'm a visual artist. So go for it. If you have a passion for it, if you really want it, go for it. What I've learned is that the universe will always make space for that person who puts in the work, who goes out and decides that I'm going to do it, I'm going to become that person. The universe will make space. You will find your way somewhere, somehow. I didn't even know what type of visual artist I wanted to be until I started to pursue the career and I started to go into it. So if you want to do it, do it. And if you have somebody close to you who wants to do it, whether it's your child, whether it's a friend, a sister, whatnot, encourage them to go for it.
Let's talk about PN Creations, which is your baby. What does PN Creation entails?
So first, when I started, PN Creation just meant Petrina and the Panda, literally initials of my two names, and that Petrina and the Panda is creating these things, so it's PN Creations. But as time went on and I started praying about it, like I wanted to understand, Lord, what is this? Because I wanted to change the name at some point. And I was like, okay, Lord, what exactly is this? And I got a vision that it's not just PN Creation of Petrina and the Panda, but it means that this baby is purposefully natured. Because every time I would say no, I didn't want it to just be a baby that I have in another business that creates jewelry. I wanted it to be more than that. I wanted it to be something that, a place where people come and they feel the birthing of different dreams. I wanted it to be a place where people come and they know when I go in that place, I could find something that speaks to me and not have earrings that you're not so comfortable with, but then they are the only ones that go with your color, for example. I wanted people to feel unique and come with any idea, even if they say it's very crazy or weird, come with it and let's create it for you. So PN Creation is my baby that I started and now it keeps growing.
We always say that there is simplicity in art, expressing your emotions, your feelings through this. It gives people freedom that they can express their emotions without screaming and talking. What are your dreams for the career of art in Namibia that you would want to see in future?
Honestly, I would love to see every Namibian child who aspires to be an artist, be an artist. I would want to see us become global artists and not just Namibian artists. I want one day when they introduce Petrina Mathews, it is not Petrina Mathews, a Namibian artist, but it is Petrina Mathews, a global artist from Namibia. And I don't want it just for myself. I want every Namibian child with a dream to be supported, to know that even though I'm in another country, I have a family back home. I have friends, I have a society, I have a community back home. And I want to be our own role models, that people know and say that, yes, it's possible to be an artist full-time. And I am saying yes because there is so and so and so who are my examples of artists who live off as artists.
There we have it, viewers. It was quite an interesting episode today, a unique topic that we had about visual arts. I for one, people didn't know the importance of visual arts, and what I saw today here is that it can do a lot. If there are a lot of people there that are interested in visual arts, what I've learned today is that go for it. Do not limit yourself. And she said a very interesting point, that if you are prepared, if you if you want to go out there, the universe will always make space for you. If the universe will make space for you, what can stop you? Until we see you again next time, viewers, thank you.